Welcome! Today, we're going to talk about time. Yes, time, which they say cannot be bought with money, but in reality, it greatly affects the way you make money. Just imagine if our lives were only about 4,000 weeks. It sounds so little, doesn't it? Yet that is our average total lifespan, only 4,000 weeks. And we sometimes feel like time is never enough. Working, making money, healing, overthinking, going back to work again. Tired, but still chasing. Well, this book, For 1,000 Weeks, teaches an important thing. It's not about how to be productive 24 hours a day, but more about how to make peace with the reality that we are ordinary humans, not perfect to-do list printing machines. I remember clearly back then when I first started working remotely. I had only one thought. I must be productive to get rich quickly. Every morning, I made a long to-do list from 5 a.m. until night, watching motivational videos, drafting strategies, scrolling TikTok. Well, that part went a bit too far. But as time went by, I felt like my life was like chasing a train that never stops. It was tiring, but I was afraid that if I stopped for a moment, I would lose the competition, lose out on profits, lose everything. Then I found this book, 4,000 Weeks. And the first sentence that really stuck in my head was, our time is finite, and that is not a problem to be solved. It really made me rethink. This book gives a gentle but deep slap. According to Burkeman, we hope too much that we can manage time. As if time were an inanimate object that we can break, set, and shape. In reality, time keeps flowing and we are just passing through. Try to calculate it. If you are 30 years old now, you have already spent more than 1,500 weeks, which means your remaining time isn't that much. And the question is, what do you want to fill those remaining weeks with? Working constantly for someone else's dream, over-planning but never starting, or slowly learning to say enough. We live in an era where hustle culture is glorified. People who are busy look cool, even though sometimes it's just another way to run away from the emptiness of life. Burkeman calls it efficiency without direction. We are busy doing many things, but we don't know what we are actually looking for. And this also happens in the world of money. Many people chase passive income but end up becoming so active that they forget to rest. There is a difference between working hard for a dream and working hard because of FOMO, fear of missing out. Here is my favorite part of the book. You can't do everything, and that's okay. Burkeman invites us to choose the things that are truly important, because every choice means we are leaving something else behind. You choose to focus on one project, it means you are willing to leave 5 other ideas behind. And that is not a failure, but courage. Let me ask you. If you were given 1,000 good ideas, would you take them all? Most people's answer would probably be yes, because we've been taught since childhood, the more you do, the more impressive you look. But Steve Jobs didn't think that way. Yes, Steve Jobs, the person who built Apple into a global tech giant that gave us the iPhone, iPad, MacBook, products that have now become part of our lives. But behind all that success, there was one simple principle he held firmly. Focus is not about saying yes to many things, but about having the courage to say no to almost everything. When he returned to Apple in 1997, the company was in a mess. There were hundreds of products, the business strategy was unclear, and Apple was almost bankrupt. What did Jobs do? He went into a room, drew a chart of Apple products on a whiteboard. Then one by one, he crossed them out, crossed them out, crossed them out, until only 4 core products remained. 4 out of hundreds. Too many people. That was crazy. Throwing away opportunities, throwing away potential income. But for Jobs, it was a moment of choosing a direction. He knew we only have limited time. We can't chase everything. And the more we chase everything, the greater the risk of losing meaning. You know how Job's outfit was always the same? Black turtleneck, blue jeans, New Balance shoes. It wasn't because he was but because he didn't want to waste energy thinking about small things that weren't important for his life's mission. He saved time because he realized focus needs space. It needs the awareness to say, this is enough. No need for more. And all those decisions weren't always easy. They weren't always comfortable. Sometimes there is guilt, a sense of loss. But that is the core message of 4,000 weeks. We are all only given about 4,000 weeks in life. And like Jobs, we must be brave enough to choose what we want to spend those remaining weeks on. Now, imagine if you focused on one thing you truly believe in, like the small business you're building, like the content you create every day, like your family or your personal mission. If you are truly present there, not going everywhere else, what could grow? Steve Jobs once said, "I'm as proud of many of the things we haven't done as the things we have done." And maybe that's what made him different. He knew we don't need to be everything to everyone. We just need to be the most aware version of ourselves for the things that matter most. And from there, the meaning of life slowly emerges. Life doesn't have to be efficient every second. Sometimes, what we need is not the latest time-blocking tip, but permission to lie down without feeling guilty. Burkeman teaches us not to wait until everything is tidy before starting, because life is messy, and that is exactly where the beauty lies. So what can we take from 4,000 weeks? 1. We are limited, and that's okay. 2. Choose what's important. Let the rest go. 3. Productivity isn't everything. 4. Money is important, but time is more important. 5. Don't wait for perfection to start living. And most importantly, life is not a race, but a journey home filled with small, meaningful stories. If you like conversations like this about books, time, life, and money, don't forget to click subscribe so you don't miss the next episode. Here, we don't look for absolute truth. We are just looking for small meanings from the pages we often skip. See you again. Remember, your life is valuable not because of how much you do, but because of how mindfully you live it.